after the physical world, where we operate and are very conscious, we move to the next world, which is the desire world. The desire world also had 7 subdivisions, except that it doesn't have 2 broad categories, unlike the physical world. The desire world, the atoms over there are lighter than that of the physical world. That's the chemical region and the etheric region. The atoms in the desire world are lighter than them. As a result of that, the desire world permeates the physical world. Because the atoms are lighter, they permeate the physical world. And their rate of vibration is faster than that of the physical world. There is no heat nor cold in the desire world. It's an area of color. The colors that we see, they come from the desire world. And over there is no strict separation between an object and its force, matter and its force. Matter and force are so joined that it's a bit challenging trying to divorce one from the other. That is the situation in the desire world, unlike the physical world, where matter is separate from its force. So it means matter can behave in any way in the desire world. It can levitate and gravitate easily, because the law of gravitation does not apply in the desire world. Similarly, there is no contraction, there is no expansion, there is no issue of time or distance in the desire world. No. And that is in contrast with the physical world. Now, who populate the desire world? We don't have the forces of plants in the desire world. No. But we have the forces of the desires of animals in the desire world, that of human beings as well. Angels, fallen angels, elementals, demons, dead people, archangels, and many others, they all populate the desire world. So just as the chemical region, just trying to go back again, just as the chemical region of the physical world is where form is, just as the etheric region is where the vitality for those forces are, in the desire world, that is where the incentive for those forces to take action, to move in one direction or the other, comes from. The desire world does that. So the desire world provides the incentive for action. All right. Having said so, let us once again look at how forms behave. The forms that are created in the desire world is based on the desires of people. Your desire creates the form. It's not that the form is living there by itself. The form in the desire world is as a result of the creation of humanity and others based on the type of desires that they have. Now, the desires that we have, is it a good one or a bad one? If it is a good one, it has a place to go. If it is a bad one, it has another place to go. So, the difference here in terms of human beings and the desires that we generate as against animals is that animals don't have higher desires of lofty ideas, which is one area of the desire world. Animals don't have that. They have desires for low things. Human beings have desires for low and higher things. So the difference is that whereas human beings can operate at the higher area of the desire world, animals cannot operate over there because they do not extend to that region of the desire world. Now, two forces operate in the desire world. Two very, very important forces operate there. One is the force of attraction, and the other is the force of repulsion. I try to use the animals as an example. Now, human beings have these two forces. The desire world has these forces. The force of attraction brings everything, anything that we generate, any desire that we generate, good or bad, is attracted. It is either taken to the higher area of the desire world or taken downwards to the lower area of the desire world. I said earlier on, the desire world has 7 regions. 3 lower ones, 3 higher ones, and then we have a middle belt. We'll look at all this into details very soon. Now, the 3 higher ones are areas for lofty ideas and service, whereas the 3 lower ones are areas of debased desires, which are actually against the laws of nature, for which the spirit will have to pay. So, if that is the situation, then what does the force of repulsion and that of attraction do? Repulsion, the force for repulsion, occupies the lower area of the desire world, and the force for attraction occupies the higher area of the desire world. Now, be it higher or lower, there is always an interest or indifference to any impression that we have. For instance, if somebody insults you, somebody may say, oh, I will not mind him. The person is indifferent to that insult. Another person will not be indifferent. Another person will feel the pain of that insult and would like to take vengeance. The vengeance that the person wants to take comes as a result of attraction. But vengeance belongs to the lower aspect of the desire world. So that desire, instead of going to the higher aspect of the desire world, we descend to the lower world or aspect of the desire world. In that direction, the force of repulsion will work against that desire. The force of repulsion, what it does is that any 2 things that are not the same in their vibration, it destroys them. We'll look at it into details very soon. So, having felt that vengeance, God has made it such that it will not go to the higher region of the desire world, but it will descend to the lower region of the desire world, so that action can be taken against it. Now, what is interesting is that every desire that we have, which generates forms in the desire world, every form wants to attract to itself a similar one. For instance, if you tell a lie, the first time that the incident happens, the record is there. So if you want to speak and you are telling a lie, you will generate a form. The form that you generate will be in the semblance of the first incident. But as the account you are giving does not have the same vibration as the form that is created, the force of repulsion will work against it in order to destroy it. That is the way nature has done it, so that we don't multiply so much in our evil ways, but that evil will be toned down. But repetition of the same old thing will, with time, make it bigger, worse, or better. So it is good for us to look for the positive in everything. If we look at the positive thing in everything, we have the opportunity to more or less destroy the negative form that we have built, because we'll be generating new forms that will go and negate the negative ones that we initially built. Now, the force of attraction, as I said earlier on, is in the 3 higher worlds of the desire world. Now, the forces, as we said, repulsion, they actually disintegrate any lower desire so that they don't build upon one another and become too evil for humanity. Now, let us see this aspect, which I really want to talk about. The subdivisions now, because we said that there are 7 subdivisions of the desire world. The lowest of it is that of passion and sensual desires, desires for materiality. They occupy the lowest aspect of the desire world. And the force of repulsion is dominant in the lowest region of the desire world. But there is also presence of the force of attraction, but it is not as much as that of the force of repulsion. As said earlier on, desire for materiality, so much of it, passion and sensual desires, they occupy the lowest portion of the desire world. And what are those negative things we're talking about? Things of injustice, fraud, bearing false witness, covetousness, suicide, racism, to be vengeful, and to be so much materialistic. You are just going after the things of this world without any holds barred. Every time your thinking is all about material things, with little space to ponder over spiritual things. These things occupy the lowest aspect of the desire world. Witchcraft is part of it. Forgery is part of it. To be boastful. These all occupy the lowest region of the desire world. Now, after the lowest region, the next that follow is the region we call impressionability. There, pictures exist. What our five senses generate, it goes there, more or less. But it goes without any feelings attached to it. But the pictures are over there, the impressions that are made on us. It's a neutral area. Now, the third region of the desire world is where we have wishes. By the time we get to the area of wishes, the force of attraction has built up sufficiently to counteract and overpower the force of repulsion. But the wishes that we have, it is at the lower end of the desire world because a lot of the wishes we have is all about selfishness. Ourselves, not others. Selfishness. So, beyond the third area, which is the region of wishes, we now move to the fourth area, which is the region of feeling. And it is important we take note of this region. The fourth region is the region of feeling. That is where everything starts from. How you feel about something is what triggers the forces of attraction or repulsion. If you feel good about a situation and you want to help somebody, your interest is awoken. Once you have the feeling to help somebody, you have interest in the situation of that person. What interest do you have? The interest to help him. Immediately, the force of attraction will take that desire to the higher level of the desire world. You may have interest, but the interest is to laugh at the person. That is not a good one. So the force of repulsion will come in over here because your interest, the feeling that you have, which generated the interest, is not to actually help, but to worsen the situation, to laugh at the person. So that is taken to the downside of the desire world for the force of repulsion to work against it. So everything starts with our feeling towards an object or impression. If it is a positive one, we trigger the force of attraction to do good. If it is a negative one, the force of repulsion will work against it. So, whether interest or not, then we must know that we are leaving indifference to take over. If you are indifferent, nothing will happen at all. There will be no feeling that will be aroused. Now, whether you are positive in terms of your interest or not, it depends on the feeling that you have. Now, if you are not interested, even though you have the feeling, but you are not interested, it means you are indifferent. In such manner, you will not act at all. And that is what happens to indifference. It doesn't work on anything. It can be stored somewhere else in the desire world so that at another time it can be resurrected again to see how you respond to that situation. So indifference is different from repulsion. Indifference, you just don't care about it. So it doesn't awaken any force at all in you. Unlike repulsion. Repulsion, you have the interest. And the interest brings the attraction. But the attraction is a negative one. So repulsion comes to work against it. Now, We are talking about the desire world, and we have said that the desire world has 7 subdivisions, 3 lower ones and 3 higher ones. The middle one is the most important for now, in the sense that that is where we have feelings, how we feel towards an object or a situation. If it is a good feeling, interest comes in. Interest comes in. If you don't care at all, indifference comes in. But when interest comes in, what type of interest? Is it the interest that is to help others, or interest that is to laugh at them, to make the situation worse for them? If it is an interest that is to help others, the force of attraction takes it to the higher areas of the desire world. If it is to tease, not to help the person, the forces of repulsion works against that type of interest in the lower area of the desire world. So, what are the 3 areas? Because we talk about the first lower region of the desire world, we talk about the second, we talk about the third, and we talk about the fourth, which is feeling. The 3 ones that are up, we call them the upper region of the desire world. They are made up of the region of soul power, the region of soul light, and the region of soul life. These things build the spirit. The higher aspect of the desire world, they build the spirit. They strengthen the spirit to mature. And what are some of the things that we need to be doing in order to strengthen the spirit? We mentioned it in our previous episode, but once again, we'll go over it. Unconditional love. You love somebody for the essence that is in the person, the God that is in the person. You don't love the person because you expect the person to pay you back. The law of reciprocity doesn't work when we're talking about unconditional love. We're talking of transparency. We're talking about being fair to people, being peaceful, making peace among people. We're talking about compassion. We're talking about philanthropy. You are helping people because it is good to help them, not that you are helping them for them to praise you. No. The higher aspect of the desire world thrives on forgiveness, humility, and spiritual things, thinking and doing that which is spiritual by helping others. Accountability is one of the most important things in the higher aspect of the desire world. You want to account to people how you have used their resources, even your own resources. It is good to account to your family how you have expended them. These things happen and they are attracted to the higher aspect, the higher region of the desire world. And that is what builds the spirit. That is what makes it to become more matured. You are caring and you want to share what you have with others without any condition. You are not discriminatory. You don't discriminate that this one belongs to my tribe, this one doesn't belong to my tribe. No, you see the God essence in everybody. That is for the higher aspect of the desire world. You are truthful. You speak the truth. You don't tell a lie. Telling a lie belongs to the lower region of the desire world, and that doesn't add any value to the spirit. It is rather pain to the spirit because the spirit will have to pay for it at the right time. When you speak the truth, you are strengthening your spirit because you are now operating at the higher aspect, the higher level of the desire world. In summary, the desire world permeates the physical world because the atoms over there are lighter than that of the physical world. In fact, it extends all the way to the moon that we see, and somewhere towards Mars, our next planet. The desire world that we have, which is for this earth planet, extends that far. And we human beings too, it extends a bit in terms of our body. Now, there is no human being who is so bad that no good cannot be found in that person. We have some amount of the higher aspects of the desire world in us. So once again, we have a depiction of the desire world here. We can see that under the desire world, we have the soul power, we have the soul light, and we have the soul life. They are the higher aspects. And feeling is the middle bit. Under the feeling, we can have that of which is impressionability, and passion and sensual desires. Passion and sensual desires, that's the lowest. So if we devote ourselves to things like that, it is important we know we are operating at the lowest level of the desire world. As you can see here, there is an arrow starting from feeling that generates interest. And interest, we have two arrows. One is going downwards towards the lower region where we have the force of repulsion. Those things are not good enough to promote the maturation of the spirit. So the force of repulsion works against it. It is pain. It is pain to the spirit. And we'll see this and how it works when we come to talk about death and purgatory. And we'll see the pain that the spirit has to go through in order to get rid of these attachments that it has carried based on the work that it has done in this physical body. But if you see the higher aspects, if you look at interest, we have the force of attraction. And the force of attraction that builds the soul power, the soul light, and the soul life. And that goes to strengthening the spirit. In all, we have the high desires and we have the low desires. That is what is depicted in this drawing. But let me say, this, in the spiritual world, you don't have things like this. Everything is interlinked. So what happens in one affects the other. But because this is just a diagram, that's why we are making it look like this, so that we can have some understanding of it. Now, beyond the physical world, beyond the desire world, we move to the third world, which we call the world of thought.